Hey, Boristy, what are you doing up? Thank you for the 18 months. I subbed 9 days ago. My next resub is 21 days from now. Yeah, it's kind of messed up.
Is Borsty on the GSL sleep schedule? Where it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Maybe. Okay, yeah. So Group A is Raynor, Mana, Namshar, and Drogo.
Do we just unanimously agree Raynor makes out in first?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, I
so
think we do.
in the fight for second place, who's your pick? Because I am really divided between two players.
It's a good question. I'm actually thinking that Mana might pull through.
Okay, that's kind of where I would say I'm like 55% Mana, 45% Namshar. Drogo's a good player, but he just was not looking that great.
Yeah.
In the round of 32.
Yeah, agreed. Like, if here's his group that he went out on.
Mm-hmm.
Gung Fu was a surprise. Like,
Yeah.
Who the hell expected that? I mean, Nurchi was obviously the favorite. But...
Yeah. Gung Fu is also such a weird story, too. Well, I mean, we'll get to Gung Fu Banda when we get to his group and stuff, but he was also such a weird person to make out in first, but I feel like while Gung Fu played well, he also was playing a bunch of people that I'm like, oh, they didn't play that well.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then I'm looking at the actual matches that Drogo played, and it was he lost versus the Terrans, and there's no Terrans in this group.
That's true, and he's a PvZ sniper, basically.
Yeah, he totally. I mean, Nurchi wasn't playing that well, but
Yeah.
he was still looking better. And
Actually,
yeah.
how does this group play out then? So then, Raynor plays Drogo, and even though Drogo is a PvZ sniper, I still think that Raynor wins that. So Drogo would go down to a lower match. So if Mana beats Namshar, then Drogo faces Namshar. And then I think maybe there's like something there. Actually, this is the problem though. Because he faces Raynor first, it's kind of like he has to beat both Mana and Namshar potentially to make it out of the group. Assuming that Raynor just wins all of his matches.
Yes, which we will continue to assume that.
So it's not even just beating Namshar. He has to beat Mana and Namshar.
Yeah, and I'm like, Mana just looks really good in his group. Scroll up here we go. So he topped his group, and here Marine was, I think, a little bit on like the Protoss hate train. So there is that to kind of excuse like the surprise factor, but Mana just in general looked really good. Obviously, a lot of PvP
specifically, which is what Drogo would have to face him in. So
exactly. So that's why I gave him the out, and then I think he can push through versus Namshar because Namshar's a very like. It's so great that he's so consistent and you can literally track like the slow like build up from him.
European Jon Snow.
But it's also terrible because he's so consistently the same. Like he does very like simple builds, things that he can improve his macro on, but he's not literal god tier macro yet. So I don't know. I feel like he just doesn't punch above his weight, and Mana does that all the time. Mana is literally like one day he's up here, another day he's down there.
Yeah.
So
I'm in total agreement with you there. I think in exactly that light, it's going to be more telling what shape Mana is in than like Namshar. I feel like that group depends a lot more on Mana's shape than anyone else's.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm going to stick with Mana as my second pick.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
All right.
Okay.
So Group B. I'm just going to do Europe because I'm too lazy to swap the NA.
No, I think we should just go through all of Europe and then go through all of Americas.
Good.
Because then I can be passionate all at once.
Yeah, exactly. This one's harder. Lambo, you thermal here, Marine hate me. Let's see, Lambo. How did he get out of his group? In first place.
Yeah, Lambo had just like pretty strong play. I remember. He played versus. Was it Hellraiser? Can you show the games?
Yeah. So we beat Gerald, and then...
Oh, no, it was Denver. Hellraiser was the one person he didn't play, right?
Yeah. No shenanigans.
Shenanigans. Yeah. I mean, I think that Lambo's just pretty well respected. I kind of think that Lambo can do really well, and then Thermal is like the other big name in the group, right?
Yes.
So... in, like, I mean, this is both in seeding and in theory. Like, I think that Lambo and Uthermal are supposed to make it out of the group. And then Hero Marine can, but he's...
it's, like, so hard. Uthermal gets all the, like...
Credit.
Yeah, it feels like he gets a lot of credit for being the best foreigner Terran, which is it's not undeserved. It
Mhm.
just is like Hero Marine has very consistent results.
That's
Whereas
fair.
and good consistent results. Whereas Euthermal is like he rarely bombs out, but he does sometimes like get like really disappointing.
I haven't looked at like a like match history between those two lately either.
Euthermal versus Hero Marine?
Yeah,
That's a
because
good
they are the
question.
first match too.
I don't think they play that often against each other. Maybe on ladder.
Because that's the thing, like European Terrans don't get to play
Yeah,
other
TBT.
Terrans very
Yeah.
often, so I really don't know how that looks.
Yeah, and they do face each other first, so
Mhm.
I'm gonna say Euthermal wins that one, but it's actually a really good match. It's a really good TVT. You have the hyper aggressive guy versus the very standard defensive macro guy. Yeah. Hate Me is obviously the question mark here, the one that everyone assumes going to get out last. But he didn't perform that badly in his group, which was recently.
No, he really played really well, being able to make it out of that group. But like, while he did, I do want to note that his games were like, and granted, it was all ZVZs or something, right?
Yeah, it was.
That he played, but like, Hate Me narrowly made it out of his group, and he had a good opponent. Xanser is a good player and stuff, for example. But like, he's up against really good players like Lambo and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's a really tough group for him.
Yeah, sorry, Hate Me, but that's probably maybe even a bit of a boppin'. Because unless the ZVT is actually surprisingly astounding, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
The reason I'm like hesitant to call Lambo first is I feel like it works. He has had
I don't know that I would
results.
call him first, but I think that he is. I would be surprised if he didn't make out first or second.
Right. Well, that's the thing though. Is I'm like, if Euthermal and Hero Marine both make out of their groups, even though it's literally stacked against them to do that, the way that they're seated.
Yeah.
I would not be that surprised. I think Lambo is an amazing player. I actually love streams great, and he's like a really smart dude.
Is that a Chinese player named Lamborghini?
Yeah, who I think I've cast before. That sounds really familiar. Anyways,
sorry.
But yeah, like, and I'm not like hating on Lambo or being like anti-Zerd pro Terran or anything like that. I just actually think that his results, and that's what I'm trying to like put up in the facts here. But I feel like there was some tournament in the past couple of months where I was just like, oh, that just wasn't that great. So I'm really question marking.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Hero Marine's not inconsistent. He was round of 32, then round of 16. No, hold on. I think that is how he went. 32, 16, 8, and then 4. Or no, it was 16, 8, 4, 4. That's how it went down last year for WCS.
I think he's been inconsistent sometimes in online tournaments.
Yeah, I guess.
Which I think includes Challenger.
Okay.
Because I do vaguely recall like Hero Marine having some not as great Challenger runs, but he's also had really good Challenger runs, so it's weird.
So let me think here. So, okay, this is one of the results that made me a little bit worried was that he lost 0-2 to Snoot in one of these qualifiers, and Snoot's not full time anymore.
And Snoot also is like super unconfident in ZVZ. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, Lambo lost to Cham, which Lambo's just supposed to be better than Cham. I think he'd be the first one to say that. Actually losing 2 games versus Clem is still at that point where like it's awesome when he does well, but he's actually not a powerhouse like everyone wants him to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking at these results and I'm not on board like the Lambo is the only guy who can face Cyril hype train that was last year type thing.
No.
I actually think that he could lose out in number 3 into this group. I think it's totally possible.
Okay. I'll agree with you that it's possible, but I would still be surprised. I think that Lambo will make it out in either first or second. And then I agree with you that I think there's a chance that Hero Marine could make it out instead of Euthermal. But my gut would still go with Euthermal. Euthermal Lambo.
Yeah, that's the gut reaction, but if you ask me on the broadcast, I'm gonna do like I'm gonna be fucking crazy. I'm gonna say Euthermal is first and Hero Marine is second. Just to stir up some shit.
Okay. I'm with you on those.
Yeah. But very good group. Lots of TVZs, which is going to be great.
Oh my god, do none of the groups have 3 races? Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Group B, we were just like, you know what? Fuck Terran.
Yep.
Let's just put them all in one group because we got 2 of them. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm. It's a little bothersome. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so Group C is Protoss Madness. I think this one actually is kind of easy to call. Not that there won't be good games, but I do strongly think Showtime first, Laser second.
So I know DNS used to be really good in PvP. And Hellraiser's just been coming up. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think that any of these players beat Showtime.
Yeah.
Maybe a Laser takes a game off of him, but I think a Laser in his current form, unless he brings some like really funky Nidus Worm shenanigans that just like catch him off guard, I think Showtime makes it out in first. But I could totally see Hellraiser or DNS actually maybe beating a Laser.
I think the Borsies thing is so amazing. I can't help but not say it. Terran's dodging the 8 remaining Protosses is the real story. That's amazing. That's fair. Like, legitimately, I think that might make me hear a Marine a lot more confident.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point.
But yeah, anyway, so, yeah, you're saying a Laser might be able to,
fall
out. Yeah, that's...
A Laser might be able to fall out.
No, that's totally legit, because a Laser is also kind of when that
a
Laser,
in a weird spot, right?
Yeah, exactly. Where Lambo had this like really big like jumping off point in 2018. Sorry, that was a Laser in 2018. Oh my God, years are so hard right now. And then a Laser just kind of fell off, and he's been falling off for longer. So I know I brought up Lambo being like, oh, the past month, like, oh, what if? But a Laser's actually just been like not that convincing for the last year, actually. Yeah. Like, he just didn't
I was going to say, I think you swapped those years of, like, Lambo having a really great 2018, a Laser had a great 2017.
Isn't that what I said? It's definitely what I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone gets what you meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a Laser did not have an amazing 2018. And part of it was, like, some of them were, like, things that you kind of want to forgive. It's like, oh, you got Hast and, like, Valencia. Okay, man, like, that... Obviously, that's not good, but, like, Showtime got Haas. Like, a lot of people got Haas. You just got Haas earlier on in the tournament. Got knocked out of Group Stage 3. But, like, I think just a lot of those things ended up happening. And Laser just... Because we have high expectations for him, he hasn't quite been performing. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he made that really interesting Players Lobby article. Did you read it? I don't know if you're the one who linked it.
No, I haven't yet.
Oh, okay. I was like, you might have been the one who linked it to me. I have no fucking idea. No, actually, it talked...
I actually link you articles that I don't read sometimes.
Oh, great. But for anyone else who didn't see it, he did the Players Lobby piece, which is like ghostwriting, but for all intents and purposes, let's say that he said that he strongly feels that he could have been in Cyril's shoes. Like, he thinks he's really damn good, but he tried the easy way out too often by doing cheeses.
I did read
and
that one. Oh, yeah, you're right.
In that he regrets not just focusing on macro and choosing the harder, longer path.
I remember that. That was like one of the first player lobby things to come out, I think.
I thought Cyril's was like one of the first, but maybe.
Yeah. His might have been the first, and then a Laser was like second or something.
Yeah. Thank you, Chicken Man, for the 10 months. Is River talking about EU? I don't even hear the disgust in his voice. Impressive. Can
we not make this a meme, actually?
Oh, man. Think it might happen. And Legulac is so slow.
Legulac is so slow lately. Actually, you know what's the only thing that's slower right now than Legulac are the BattleNet APIs. I actually don't even know if Ladder Heroes is working right now.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Oh, it actually went through. All right, so a Laser, he did well in his group, obviously. He did well enough in the qualifiers. I think it was like the second qualifier or something that he made it through. Let's see. Wait, he actually played DN? Yeah, he actually played DNS recently. And Showtime. That's interesting. He lost Showtime, beat DNS. But it was 2-1. And he's lost to some other Protosses. But his recent form really isn't... It's not super impressive. It's not bad either.
It's like he still beats impressive. He's good. Like inconsistent as the way I would put his form.
I don't even remember this tournament.
The Penthouse Party?
Yeah.
It was like right before BlizzCon. I think everyone was quite busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's been beating good players, but he also loses to players that like you wouldn't expect him to lose to.
Yeah, like Clem.
Yeah. Or like Kelazor and Goblin beat him.
Yeah, so that is interesting then. Like, Showtime out first for me, as in wins first, and then
We need to ban the word out.
Yeah, I
In
know.
regards to groups.
And then I'm still suspicious that DNS has like performance problems, which is a very lewd way to put it, but
Yeah, thanks for that.
that like when the lights get shown on him, he doesn't actually do what he's capable of doing. So I think a laser will pull through with experience. So I'm gonna say Showtime.
What do you think about
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser?
Not much, unfortunately. Like, I know he's coming up as a Protoss, and a lot of his qualifiers were based around PvP, but even in a lot of Protoss group, I think he'll lose to a laser first, which will put him in the losers match, and then DNS, I think, is just going to be the stronger player in general, and Hellraiser's going to be like nipping at his heels.
I think, yeah. Logic tells me that that's probably going to be the case. Everything you just said. For some reason, I have like this weird sense of like hope for Hellraiser.
Okay.
That like I think he is gonna maybe pull off some like surprising upsets, just because I think he is a little bit more of an unknown for me right now.
Yeah, it's very possible, and PvP is so wacky, being unknown. I feel like what I've heard though is that he is like, it's not like he's some unknown guy to the players, right?
No, he's not. It's not in that sense.
Yeah.
It's just that I think like skill wise, his skill in the past like 3 or 4 months, I feel like changed a lot from what I understood. Like he got substantially better, and I don't actually know where he landed in terms of like how good he actually got.
That's fair.
So it's hard for me to call. Like I would agree with you in logic on Hellraiser, or like on that group, but I still think that Hellraiser could maybe be the person that upsets a laser or something.
I was like wondering when he started playing. He's just noted as playing list of the Void.
Hellraiser started. He's like 2014, 2015. He's one of the newer people, I think.
He was on a team in 2016, but it actually looks like he started in Legacy of the Void, at least being a pro gamer.
I'm gonna look at his Aligulac really quickly.
Well, really quickly.
Okay.
Sure about that?
Yeah, I'm quite sure.
Sure it's gonna be really quick?
It's extremely quick. Just give me like another 7 minutes for Aligulac to load.
All right.
Group D?
Yeah. Group D, okay. Obviously
so
Cyril.
Rail clearly beats Cyril.
Get the fuck up.
Well, okay, actually, hold on. Can we just talk about, like, this is something that I think about every single time I see Cyril play now.
Okay.
Which has not been very many times because he stopped playing for a while, right? Like, he stopped playing in tournaments besides, like, that.
He hasn't played a lot of online tournaments, yeah.
But I've started thinking lately, like, what if this is the series that Cyril loses and, like, it breaks the next losing streak? Or, like, the winning streak, I mean. And it's just, like, when I see it versus, like, a Showtime or something, it's like, okay, sure. But then I see it versus, like, Rail's not a good example because I actually think that, because immediately after this, I'm going to hype up Rail and how I think he's gotten really good lately.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I'll see him versus, I don't know, Risky, like, Cyril versus Risky. I'm like, what if this is the series that Cyril loses? Like, how weird would that be?
I don't know, mate.
I know.
I have a lot of people he could lose to in my mind. But
yeah. Risky isn't on that list?
Risky's not on that list. No, like, Raynor, Lambo, probably not Euthermal.
So here's my big catch here, is that now I go to his group, where it's, to name the group, it's Cyril, Gung Fu Banda, Hearthstone, and Rail.
Right.
Cyril plays Rail the first round. I think 90%, 93.7% chance Cyril just absolutely destroys and dismantles Rail. But there is a 6.67% chance that Rail just plays so weird compared to everyone else, and it actually does, like, work. In a best of 3, I see it happening as like a 6%, maybe a 4% chance. 6 to 4%.
I'm so glad you're putting that in numbers, because it is absurdly low.
But like, that's one of those things that I could actually see Rail just doing something, and that's the thing that like I've noticed a lot about Rail's games, and like you see pro players tweet about this stuff when they talk about like playing Rail, is that he'll do things, and other players will just like look at his stuff and be like, "Oh, okay, you're like doing this, I guess. I don't actually even know what you're doing, really." And he just comes completely out of left field with like some all in or something, and players are just like, "Who?
Yeah,
What the fuck was that?"
Yeah, but Cyril's already been tested through that.
Yeah.
You know, we had the massive test that was him facing Haas of whether or not he can handle weirdness.
And he dropped 2 maps.
And then we had the rest of the
One
fucking
map? 2 maps?
we had the rest of the fucking year that people were like, well, if we play weird or cheesy, we're gonna kill him. And Cyril's like, nah,
That's fair.
nah, I'm good. No, I think 6% chance is about what I'm gonna give him.
Okay.
And all the Reddit threads are gonna be like fucking casters.
Okay, but who are the rest of the 3 players? Like, who do you think makes it out? Because I actually would say my money right now is on Rail.
You really give Rail a lot of credit, huh?
I actually think that he has just gotten way better, and the pro players are starting to give him some respect for the results he's getting. But like, I think it's still actually not entirely there.
The results in the round of 32 weren't bad. It's not like he was super stomping on people. Got a game for Sea Thermal. A lot of PvPs there. He did not face Goblin. I don't know. Hearthstone's group was not PvPs. By the way, I think Borsi already said this, but it's very possible that they're all practicing nothing but PvP.
This is true. But you would practice normal PvP, not Rail PvP. Just kidding.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
You're, like, this is like the Mia Micah thing all over again.
Oh my god. I looked so stupid when Mia Micah played because, Jesus Christ, that kid didn't meme at all.
Yeah.
I was so sad.
And then Gung Fu. Gung Fu was in this weird group.
You know what? I'm just going to say it. I like Gung Fu. He's a cool player and stuff. I don't have a lot of confidence in Gung Fu.
Well, it's hard to. He literally didn't play the game much. Obviously he played the game, but he didn't perform in many tournaments last year.
Yeah.
And it almost looks like he recently picked up the game again, honestly, if you look at his Illigalak. So I'm with you there. It's hard to have confidence, but that's why I don't actually have a second call for this one. I think any of these guys could show up with PvP that's really good. Harsam's the fan favorite, obviously, but he's really not as consistent as people would want. And Rail has some good PvP, so I don't know. I think Rail would lose to Cyril, and then he would face. I'm gonna say Gung Fu.
You think Gung Fu would beat Hearthstone?
No, I thought he'd lose to Hearthstone.
Oh, right. Sorry, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So
I was just already assuming that Rail would beat Cyril, so.
Well, I don't have a second pick there. I think Simpsons in chat says that Rail gets second. I think is what he said.
I think it's also going to be funny because you just know that all of the players in that group are just going to only be thinking about PvP. They're going to be like,
so.
I could practice for Cyril, or I could just practice Protoss.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the whole idea of like getting the what's the word I'm looking for? The prestige win.
Oh.
Because you're the one that broke Cyril's streak is like it's not quite worth putting all your energy into quite yet. We'll see what happens. Okay, that's Europe. Some pretty cool groups there.
Now that we're done with that.
We're done with that
Let's
waste of time.
talk WCS winter.
There it is.
Okay. Group A. So, how did this group happen? This group is so stacked, in my opinion. It is.
I think it's stacked.
I think it is the most stacked group in Americas.
Okay.
By like a decent margin. Just having Special and Scarlet in a group together is already kind of insane, and I think that Cham is also quite good as like a second seed, or like a third, fourth seed. I mean.
Yeah.
And then Rex. I have not a lot to say about.
I don't care about Rex.
Yeah.
There's like this scene.
I mean, it's not that I don't care about him. Just like he had interesting games, but.
There's a scene in Parks and Rec where like they're debating, right? And there's this guy who's like a gun totem, like he just wants gun rights and everything. And the interviewers ask him like, what do you care about like abortion rights? And he's like, I don't care about that. Just ask someone else. It's like Fear Dragon and Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like Special and Scarlet being in a group basically makes it the most star-studded. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if you're gonna say stacked means if you would like to give numbers to people based on how much they add to a stack, then Scarlet and Special would have really high numbers.
If I ranked these players, how do I word this so it's not confusing? If I rank these players from best to worst, where best was like the highest number and worst was like the lowest number, and then you added up the totals for each one of the groups of so if I said that Special was like the best player in Americas, then he would get 16 or something because it's round of 16, and then Scarlet would be like whatever. If you added up all the groups, I think that Group A would have the most points.
Okay.
I think overall they just have the highest overall skill level average.
I'm not going to disagree, but I'm just gonna have to do that thing where I'm like a Debbie Downer and just I know like Cham gets like some hype, especially from you. But it is one of those.
You know what's funny, by the way?
What?
Is how much In Control was like hyping Cham up to me when I was like, I think that Cham's good, but like I don't think he's gonna do that well here. And then In Control's like, no, Cham is like really freaking good. I'm like, oh.
Sometimes I feel like In Control has a dartboard that he just like throws a dart at like an NA player, and he's like, "That's my pick. That's gonna be the one." Because otherwise, he just says, he doesn't have the fan favorites. Anyways, I just don't feel like Cham's actually like, and this sounds really, really rude of me, but I don't think he's worth some of the hype that he gets. It feels like so much of it is just lingering from 2017.
Yeah, 2017, where he's getting multiple semi-final finishes and stuff.
Yeah, where he almost made to BlizzCon.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much of that lingering there, and otherwise his results have been just on par for someone who was up and coming besides that year. So I'm never really on board that train. It's not really a hype train, but obviously he is a good player and he could be better. Like at any point he could show up and be like, oh, okay, like all right, Cham's really good, but yeah,
I'm kind of on board with you a little bit about that. Like I do think that I don't think when I say Group A is stacked, I don't necessarily mean that I have a lot of questions on like who I think is going to advance out, because I'm still pretty sure it's going to be Special Scarlet. Like I'm pretty sure it's going to be Special Scarlet, but like I think it's just there's a lot of concentrated skill in that group.
Yeah.
Even though there is definitely still skill disparity.
So who gets out first? Because Special Scarlet's going to happen.
Yeah, if that happens, then let's see. Special's in Korea, right? This is actually important. US West default server.
That's a good question. I don't know. Well,
because I know Scarlet's in Korea.
I was gonna say, I don't think lag is gonna be an issue.
Yes, he is. We're getting confirmation from chat. Okay. If they're both in Korea, then production's gonna forget to switch us to Korea server. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But I think I would give a little edge to Scarlet, just because I think that Scarlet, mechanics wise, if they didn't know each other really well, I would give an edge to Special, because I think that he's a little bit more stable as a player.
Okay.
But I think one of Scarlet's strengths is that she's a really smart player, and when she knows her opponent really well or something, she is really good at just playing to them. She's really good at playing to a particular player.
Yes.
So I would give a little edge for Scarlet.
I'm going to go with the reverse. I'm going to give a little bit of an edge to Special.
Yeah,
I think
that's fair.
Ultimately, Special's consistency is going to win out, and that they do know each other so well that Scarlet, it's like the reverse. That Special will know her tricks.
This is like even though I don't think we have a huge disagreement between us, this is like a philosophical battle between us of like, does metagaming and like the weirdness and random tricks and stuff outpace like consistency and stability? Yeah. This is just actually like a philosophical debate between us.
Yeah, and it's luckily for this group not an important debate either, because we're just assuming both of them get through regardless.
And what's kind of interesting also is that it doesn't matter with these groups who makes out first or second place.
Yeah.
Because the next stage is round robin. There's no seeding of like, oh, you're going to play versus a better or worse. You're going to play versus everyone.
Yeah.
It actually has no impact whether you make it out in first or second.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, I'm going to go with the consistency just because Special is so damn good consistent. But that will be a very fun match. I hope I get to cast that. As opposed to these ones. I don't care what these ones. These ones going to be stumps.
Yeah, man. It'd be really, really unfortunate if, like, we couldn't pick which games we were going to cast or something. Like, we didn't have advanced knowledge of the rotations or anything.
Well, now it's a little awkward.
What?
Because no one's going to tell us who's going to tell us who starts, because that was
We're going to move on from depressing topics?
That was a thing that we were told.
We're going to move on from depressing topics to Group B.
All right.
I'm sorry, Rex. We didn't talk about you at all.
Yeah, you're wrecked. Get Rexed. Okay. Well.
So, this is kind of like a weird group of, to me, and I say inconsistent players, but that's not really fair because I'm mostly basing that off of the fact that I've seen very little of Coffee and Firefly.
Right.
Because Masa, Coffee, Probe, Firefly, in case you guys can't read the Wikipedia, I don't know how large that actually is. But Masa is extremely inconsistent. Probe is also really inconsistent. And then Coffee is like... Coffee was the one that was going for Corruptors in ZVZ, wasn't it? No?
He's a Terran. It literally says it right there. He actually had really good TV.
So he was the one going for Corruptors. Whoops. Never mind. Who am I thinking of then?
That
wasn't
for
Rex,
Corruptors?
was it?
I mean, it might have been.
Can you scroll up?
I didn't get to cast any Rex, so that might be what happened.
Oh my god, I'm blanking. It was Rex, because I don't think it was Go-Go Joey.
Okay, I believe you.
Okay. You know what? I think Rex can beat Scarlet. Just kidding.
Well,
that would actually be fascinating if that happened, but
that would be insane.
Yeah. Okay.
So Maynard goes with the basic bitch picks. Okay, I'm just throwing it out there.
The
Maynard.
Australia pick and the Masa pick.
It's the two most popular players. It's the people that, like, understandably so. Like, they have the most results when Coffee and Firefly have like literally zero as far as I know.
I just want to say that I think Masa's gonna roll this group.
I think he's gonna 4-0?
No, like roll over this group.
We really need to get...
I know! Better verbs! Masa is going to stomp this group, I think. But
we agree.
When I say stomp, I say stomp, I don't think it's going to be a 4-0. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a 4-0. Because I think Masa plays messy. And, like, I think that it will get messy. So I could definitely see him losing maps and stuff. But I think he is going to 2-0, like, series score. I think he's going to make it out first in this group.
Okay.
And
then Probe?
Okay, so I'm remembering Coffee. Coffee had really clean Terran play. He, like, completely just shut down. I remember he played TVT or something. TVT?
Coffee?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
I remember him looking really good in that. So I was impressed by Coffee. I think that I would actually give Coffee a bit of an edge over Probe. I think Probe can play... I think Probe can beat Coffee. But Probe is, like, inconsistent. So just on the consistency thing, I would say Coffee beats Probe, Masa beats Firefly, and then Masa beats Coffee.
Okay.
I think Probe beats Firefly, and then I could see the second series going either way.
All right. This
Group
is
curse.
actually, I think, one of the more interesting groups for me. Even when some other ones are pretty interesting too. But this one, I think, has the room for the most upsets. Firefly, I agree with Maynard. Firefly didn't really, like, even though he won, it was like Haas being bad Haas, right? Like, there's good Haas and there's bad Haas, and it was bad Haas. So that was not really a lot to read into. So I don't really want to say that he's going to do well at all. But if he does, I'm just going to be like, well, that's the way things go.
The only person that played better than Haas this tournament was M. Canning.
Anyways, I think the most consistent, and as far as I know, person, like, who puts in the most consistent amount of hours is probably Coffee. From what we know about Masa and Probe, Probe goes traveling a lot of times. He has episodes where he doesn't feel like playing very much.
He's here.
I don't
He's
know.
literally here. Sorry.
He could be here talking and defending himself.
I know. We should invite him.
And Masa literally doesn't play the game, which I know you keep saying like makes him better, but that's always one of those.
What I can't say, but I've definitely made allusions to on the broadcast, is he literally is only playing League of Legends right now, guys.
Yeah.
Like, actually, all he's doing is playing League of Legends. He's not even like focused on studies right now.
Yeah. And in the TVT, I think Masa actually did win a TVT. To be fair, to be clear, hold on.
I just remember his TVZ
no,
where he was a fucking badass and just going for mass banshee. Hold on.
That's what I was thinking.
He actually told me something funny after that. I can't remember what it was. Let me look it up while you talk.
This is like so funny. I was like on board with the whole like Australians are just as good as Chinese players, and now I'm gonna go ahead and just put the brakes on that and say that I think that Coffee could defeat Probe. I think he will defeat Probe. Because Maynard's defending Probe.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I guess
my call that's like the unsafe call. Sure.
I just want to check something. Coffee's group.
This one.
Okay, so here's one additional thing I want to add in.
Okay, fine. Go.
We haven't seen Coffee's TVP, and Terrans are still struggling a lot versus Protoss. So maybe with that, I would actually still give a little edge.
So here's the thing, because that's actually a really important note, the whole Terran versus Protoss thing. I think what we've seen in WCS, and Nate brought, like, when I brought this up, Nate had a really good point. I think it's actually the Protoss that are struggling against the Terran. The Protoss at this level are struggling against the very finely tuned 2-base all-ins and 3-base all-ins that are being played. I don't think it's like Korea, where like Hero gets fucking smacked by Maru because.
Hold on, this is actually a really important topic. Can you scroll up? I want to look at this. Let's verify this really quickly. Without diving into the actual matches, verifying this is hard.
Yeah.
We have one group where both the Protoss and the Terran made it out, or made it in the next stage. The next group that has both the Protoss and a Terran, we had one Protoss and one Terran make it into the next stage. And then the next group, we had one Protoss and one Terran that made it into the next stage. And then I guess Group H, where Cyark bombed out, but Cyark is not on the same level as Puck. Or...
It's actually... I don't think we can really... Yeah. I mean, maybe someone will want to crunch the numbers here, but I think in general what we glean from this is that...
in Antarctica.
Is that... you can't crunch the numbers. Is that neither race is actually showing a particular, like, opiness in results. Penis. In results. Like, maybe Europe might have been different because we only have 2 Terrans in Europe. But for NA, I see a lot of Terrans and a lot of Protoss get out.
Yeah.
And then I see things like this group where, like, you know, there was actually back and forth TVPs the entire time. I just don't...
Yeah.
I don't think that I think there is a mental thing for every single Terran because they are forced to do their 2-base all-ins, but then I think that there's a mental thing for Protoss because they're like, 2-base all-ins are hard to stop.
I will admit that most of the times I've been seeing Terran players just get absolutely smacked down by Protoss, it's actually been in Europe. Europe, a lot of these Terran players were just going for like these 2-base tank pushes, and Protoss were just like,
yeah, right. That's why I said it was
fucking out of here.
It was different in Europe. That's why we only have 2 Terrans.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's like,
it is not nearly as much in America, if at all.
The person I feel like that encapsulates this idea that I have is like Drogo. I feel like for all the European Terrans say, Drogo should have just slapped them, right? That's the feeling that TVP has right now, is that the Terrans just like, well, we're gonna lose. Yet what actually happened was that Drogo was like intentionally trying to work against these very common plays and couldn't. Like, he would see them coming and he'd defend, and then he actually would still lose. And I don't know if, you know, like, obviously could be a testament to his skill, and this is all still skill-based and whatnot, but it is one of those things where I think that, understandably so, there's Protoss that are like, these fucking 2-base all-ins are actually just really hard to stop.
That is fair. That is a fair point.
Well, anyways.
Yeah. Okay. I will still go with Masa Probe, but only because I think Probe is going to win in the rebuttal match.
Of Coffee Probe?
Yeah.
Okay, so you think Coffee's going to win first and then Probe's going to bring it back?
I think so.
That's fair. I'm going to do that thing where I'm like fucking crazy. And I'm going to say that Coffee makes it out first and Masa makes it out second.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm just so crazy.
You know what's fun is I'm going to ask Masa tonight how he's going to do. And he's going to be like, well, I'm going to go out in third because fucking Protoss, but at least I can beat a Terran player.
Yeah, of course. I don't know. Coffee's TVT looked really solid. Seether wasn't up to, I think, his fullest potential, so that was always weird. But
yeah, we weren't quite able to see it there,
but Coffee, I think, just looked actually really strong in TVT.
Seether.
Plus, I just want to be crazy. So, and then again, I said like if Firefly, happens to just like pull out a bunch of stuff, like, yeah, if he can exit down, I'll just be like, all right, fine, that's how it goes.
Okay, can we talk about Group C and
That's
how
why we're here.
Fucking Blizzard
That's why
was
we're here
like,
for Dragon.
huh?
That's why we're here.
Okay, fucking Blizzard was like, you know what? Americas. What does Americas mean? It means a melting pot. It means a diversity. You know, we got too many American players in the Americas groups. How do we get rid of them, ZombieGrub? What do we do? We go look at Europe. You know what? We had this great idea that we had too many Terran players in Europe because we had 2 of them, and we just stuck them in a group together to like reduce their odds. What if we did the same thing to American players? Let's put all of the most American players in here. We got Puck from like Minnesota. He's really American. We got Neeb. He's like the American god. And we got M. Canning, the most American man alive. And then Epic is also kind of pretty American.
He is literally American. Yeah. Now, I don't know what the plan was here, man, but they were going to kill all the Americans.
I was so frustrated and upset when I saw these groups because of this.
Well,
I mean, at least I get one really good day of StarCraft.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. About the actual group.
Yeah.
This is a rematch of Neeb versus M. Canning, which was a best of 5 at Cheesadelphia that M. Canning won. He beat Neeb. That's going to be really hard to pull off again, and it's in an even more high-pressure situation. And M. Canning, I love M. Canning to death. I think he can beat Neeb, but I think he does not do... He's definitely struggled a lot when it comes to like high-pressure situations. And this is a tough one for him. I think a lot of why he was able to beat Neeb at Cheesadelphia, like especially talking to him, was because there was so little pressure for him. Okay. And I think because he's beaten Neeb already in the past, now he feels some expectation like, oh, I could maybe do it again. And I think that because of that, it's going to be a much harder match, and I think that Neeb's going to beat him.
Yeah.
Which is a really roundabout way of saying, like, I think that the favored player by a heavy margin is going to win here. But, like, I think, yeah, it's probably going to be Neeb. And then what I'm interested in finding out is I think that Epic's good, but I think that Puck is better. I think that Puck is going to beat Epic. I am really looking forward to Puck versus Neeb. I actually think that Puck can beat Neeb.
You're just going here and...
Sorry.
No, it's good.
I'm quite passionate about this group. I don't know if you can tell.
Isn't there a way to, like, look up matches?
Yeah. Go to results and search.
Yeah, that's right.
Puck Neeb. So, like, I know that, for example, they played WSG USA. I don't know if they played in any other online tournaments recently. But, like, they have a lot of close series with each other. Even when Neeb ends up winning out, like, most of the time. They're like, Puck is almost always taking games, usually.
I mean, most of the time, or just...
These are like, you're looking at 2016, 2017.
I'm looking, I scrolled down from the most recent.
Okay. The only really 2 recent series are Star Ladder, where, yes, that was a 3-0, but those were actually good games.
Okay.
And then WESG, like, because I was casting that one, all of those games were really fucking close. All of them were, like, nail-biting series.
These ones?
Yeah. The most recent one, and that was back in November also.
It's still a 3-1 in Neeb's favor. So. I get what you're saying. It's a lot of good points. Like, Neeb is, unfortunately, as good as he is, still has a bit of a consistency problem where he still is affected by mentality. He's fixed it to a degree, but not 100%.
Yeah. From that perspective also, like, this is not prediction stuff, but, like, I'm actually really hoping that Neeb just crushes his group just completely super strong. Because I'm actually like a little bit worried for Neve right now, just because he's been having so many consistency problems. I feel like lately he's been losing series to like players that you really think he should not be losing to, and like I'm a little bit afraid that it's gonna start shattering his confidence, and it's gonna have like more long-term impacts.
I'm just gonna go search.
So I'm really actually hoping that it's gonna sound like silly. I really hope that the favorite just absolutely crushes his group.
Well, that's because you love Neve.
I do. I was definitely enjoying some of the upsets and stuff for a while, but I'm like, I still want Neve to be Neve.
Yeah. Yeah. Good points. I'd be shocked if Neve made it out second or didn't make it out at all. That'd be shocking, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd be like a 2 shock. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
For him in a second, that is. If he actually dropped out of his group, that'd be really shocking. But I could see it. I don't know. I think Neve makes it out first, and then Puck doesn't make it out second. Epic's kind of the question mark.
Epic is good, but I think it's really weird because I think the round of 32 he really didn't play super well, and like I don't mean like he hasn't been playing well for the past 2 months, because Epic has actually looked really good in most of the other tournaments he's played in the last 2 months.
Okay.
And then that particular like event, he was just playing way below the level that I'm used to seeing from him. And he was even like talking about that with me and stuff. Like he was really disappointed with his performance. So I'm not sure what exactly got in the way for him, but I feel like he can maybe make something happen here. I actually think that second place is really open for anyone.
Yeah.
Even M. Canning, who I think like I think that he has it in him to beat Epic, and I think that I still favor Puck against M. Canning, but when M. Canning and Puck usually play like on the ladder and stuff, like they're actually very 50-50 because they both stream a lot. I see them hit each other a bunch. Like they're actually very close. The thing is, like whenever they play in tournaments, though, Puck just like shits all over M. Canning.
Yeah, and that's a strong reason as to why I put Puck as second.
Yeah.
But M. Canning does have.
I agree with that.
M. Canning has the style that is supposed to disrupt expectations. Like it just versus Terrans.
Disrupt.
Yeah, I did that on purpose, totally. But especially versus Terrans, but even seeing his PvPs, like it's weird and people get thrown off.
Yeah.
And this could be an upset, but Neeb should still make it through. So I'm gonna stick with Neeb and then Puck, but I think M. Canning's nerves just gonna really get to him. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think anyone would fault you for saying Neeb Puck.
No, of course they wouldn't, but
except for Diesel Max Power. Diesel Max Power is the biggest M. Canning fan.
Yeah. So the next group. So I my comments here. I'm gonna focus more on Kelazur. Kelazur looked fucking amazing actually in some of his online tournaments. Like crazy good. Like better than he looked as a full-time pro gamer. What?
No, it's just funny. Like I agree with you. Like he looked like a few months ago and stuff, especially. I was like, damn, Diego, not playing StarCraft has really treated you well.
Yeah.
You're playing so well when you have a girlfriend and you're in Europe and in school and not actually focusing on StarCraft for a career.
Yeah.
And that's actually something he even talked about a lot, like last year, where he was he was still full-time StarCraft and stuff last year, but he said he found a lot more success when he stopped expecting or like stopped focusing so much on like trying super hard and like putting in insane practice hours. He was like, I took a step back and that's how I started getting results.
And sometimes it really works out for people. So he looked amazing in some online tournaments, but then his group, round 32 group actually made me like hesitate a little bit because he obviously lost a game to Vindicta, which I didn't think was going to happen. And then in the games that he did win, it wasn't as convincing as I thought they would be.
Yeah.
So I really don't know where Kelazur is at right now.
That's what. I knew you were gonna go that direction. That's kind of why I wanted to bring up the whole like last year really worked out for him. I think that and it's funny because I feel like I see this with Masa a lot.
Thanks, Borsty.
I see this with Masa a lot where he will go from, okay, I'm like barely practicing and I'm just playing League of Legends all the time, and his skill starts going up in terms of like performances and stuff, which is always like really weird, right? But it's like that taking a break from StarCraft or like pulling back, you start having like this temporary boost in performance. But then afterwards, the fact that you're not playing eventually catches up with you and it starts dipping again.
Yeah.
So like I think that Kalazor may be on like the end of that
On a
dip.
dip.
Yeah.
Well, just like when you say last year, I mean, I was actually thinking more like his performances in the last 2 months, which technically is last year. But but even like as far as like only saying 1 month ago, he looked really good. So it's very possible it's just kind of catching up to him. It's also possible that the European server actually is giving him really great practice. So more of the quality over quantity type thing.
It's also possible that he just was not playing well one day.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're reading too much into it, and he's actually still really good.
Yeah. Because he was taking on Cure, who's a TVT god. Even though it was cross-server, and that does kind of suck. But anyways, so I don't know. I think time at this point has proven that he's dependable with his Montreal result and then his group result. So I think he goes out. I think he comes out first, but I actually like Estrella could definitely throw some curveballs.
Yep.
I don't think Silky actually has that strong of a chance, despite being a decent player. It feels very like it just feels like the other guys are on another level. Either they can push past their weight class, like Estrella, might be able to actually surprise us, or they're already proven to be really good players. And I feel like Silky doesn't quite have that.
I'll say it. I think that Silky has, in some ways, I won't say replace is too mean of a word, because he's still around in the scene, but I think that Silky has effectively become like the next Jon Snow in a lot of ways. Like I think he's actually pretty consistent, but he's having trouble. And he was showing some spikes in performance for a little bit, and he was like on the up and up for a bit. But then he kind of started he stabilized again, and I think he's been struggling a little bit to break that like consistency streak, which means that like I agree. I think it's going to be kind of tough for him. I do think that Silky versus and Estrella's of like I think he's like a very spiky player right now.
Right.
I think that peak Estrella can actually make it out first in this group. I'm going to say that because I think that Estrella is actually really freaking good. I think that bottom tier Estrella goes out 0-4, and I think that he also loses to Silky pretty badly. And Estrella, I think in like average level, like if he's feeling just okay.
Yeah.
I think it's like a really close fight for like third. I think you would still go out third. So I think if Estrella's looking really good, I think this entire group dynamic changes.
That is fair from what we saw.
But I'm with you. I think that I love Silky, and I actually really hope he can turn things around. But yeah, I do give Silky like the lowest chance. Kalazor. It's such a weird group because I just feel like there's so much inconsistency in it outside of time. Everyone except for Time, I feel, Time and like Silky, I guess. It's just Estrella and Kalazor are such wild cards in my head right now on how they're gonna perform. What?
Between first and last, what a prediction. No, but I get where everyone gets where you're going with it. It's just like there's two players that can be spiky. Well, actually no, there's one player that's consistently at a level that we just are saying isn't enough to make it out, which sucks, but might be the truth. There's one player that's spiky, so it really does depend on his form and his nerves. There's one player that is usually dependable, but hasn't been playing as much and is also cross-server. And there's one player that has proven himself, and that is the safe choice. But everything else, I think the safe choice is Time first, Silky bottom, and then everything else, the Kalazor Estrella can actually go both ways.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's fair.
And I think that's a totally fair assessment, even though Kalazor is going to get a lot of backing to him.
Yeah. I mean,
because of his name.
It's the results, yeah. The same thing that I would say, like, or not quite the same, but similar to how Nurchio, though, has a lot of backing to his name. Didn't end up performing. So, like, it's really questionable. It could be that. It could be Kalazor shows up and it's like, you fucking nerds. And just crushes his group.
Yeah, if Kalazor does that, I wouldn't be surprised. If Kalazor gets first because he's actually playing like he was just a month ago, not even 3 weeks ago, then
I also want to note that, like, Kelazar in the past was also a spiky player. Even when he was getting really good results,
but you
like,
know,
he was spiky.
his spikiness in my mind at the entire time, right? Like, we're talking about, like, the GSO versus the world result and stuff. It was all to do with his build order choices and his micro. It just was like he would get into these grooves where he'd choose the right build order, which is what happened in the GSO versus the world thing, and he'd be able to micro and multitasking.
His moment to moment decision making is so fucking. I think that's what makes his play so spiky a lot of the time.
Yeah, but I actually think that his decision making is far better recently. Like the impressive results that I'm talking about, him versus Cure, wasn't just like they got to an even point and then he like dropped everywhere and Cure couldn't handle it. No, it was like he was making the better decisions. He was actually playing a better TVT until Cure started to figure things out and then it reversed the other way. But the point is, like, it looks like he's actually just playing some damn strong overall games and not necessarily spiking in micro or spiking in lucky build orders. But then he went on in that actually matchup. He like did really well. And then he started like doing things like proxy raxing 4 barracks and lifting them to the high grounds of the main base.
Oh, Diego.
So sometimes his decision making, not the best.
He's very decisive with everything he does. That's one thing I really have to say about Kelazar is like he is almost never gonna be the player that like. This is like a very specific example, but you know, there's like the players that they'll be moving out across the map. And they're in the middle of the map, and then a drop comes in or something.
Yeah.
And they're the players that like move back and forth like 3-4 times, and then they finally commit. Kelazar is like the player that I never ever will see that do that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And that's like, again, that's a super specific example. It's just like it tells you like the kind of player he's just like very very focused and just he's okay with whatever risks he takes and just accepts them.
Yes, he is a risky, decisive player, and that will net you some wins when you shouldn't get them. But I feel like if he plays like he did, he's like ascended. He's now just like consistently good. But that's the whole thing is that like I can't say that and also say that he might perform poorly today because we don't know what exactly is the magic mix of ingredients that is resulting in some of Kelazar's play. Is the European server better practice? Is it the lack of expectation?
Is his girlfriend his good luck charm?
Sure. Does he get periods of time where she's studying for finals so he gets to practice more? Like, what the fuck
is she playing StarCraft for him?
Who knows? He became, understandably so, more of a question mark since he
figured
moved
it out,
to Netherlands.
guys. Kelazar is dating Maru.
Oh my god. Oh. Him and Masa would have made such a power couple. The other Maru.
Maru and Maru?
No. Kelazar. Masa.
Oh my god.
They would have been such a power couple, going to NA events together, man, performing well as the
They're
other
actually
Terrans.
quite cute. They're actually good friends and stuff.
Yeah, I bet.
I see them hanging out a lot at events.
All right. That covers every single group, guys. I know. It's already done. We did it.
Wow. Let's go over the round robin.
It took an hour. Well, here it is.
Okay.
That's what a round robin looks like. It's...
Actually, can we recap which players we think makes out of these groups?
Yeah,
because
sure.
I want to see like what the breakdown ended up being.
Let's pop up EU as well.
Okay, we can go over America since we're here.
No.
Oh, no. Okay, we're going in order. So
Okay.
I think we said Raynor. We agreed on Raynor Mana, probably.
Yes, we did.
If we had anyone that was like iffy 50-50, then we'll just pick one.
Mm-hmm.
So Raynor Mana. Group B was like kind of weird.
I did the bold thing, and I said Euthermal Hero Marine, or Euthermal Lambo. Actually, I forget what I did.
We were both kind of a little bit iffy between Lambo Euthermal Hero Marine, but then I settled on Lambo Euthermal, and you settled on being the bold person and being like, I think Hero Marine Euthermal or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said Euthermal first. And Hero Marine.
Yeah.
I think that was my bold choice of.
Okay, so we'll say Euthermal, in which case we have one of every race and everything is balanced.
Sure.
And then we'll say Hero Marine or Lambo, one of the two. And then for Group C, Showtime, I think we both said probably a laser, but it could be upset.
No, we both said yeah. That's what we said. There could be an upset.
So Showtime a laser, and then
Cyril,
and
I never chose a second person.
Yeah, a Protoss. I said Rail, but yeah, I definitely could see most of them making it out.
Yeah.
That is an interesting round robin then.
We basically chose those two. It's two. 1 and 1.
That's, I mean, if Euthermal and Hero Marine both made it out, oh my god. If Euthermal and Hero Marine both advance, then we'd actually have not a super even mix. We'd have a decent mix of races and stuff.
Yes. Of the 2 Terrans that made it into the
In which case, we can give Protoss back the blink
16.
buff.
They both made it out, and it would look fair. Isn't that great? Yeah. Round robin, I'm sad I'm not going to be there for the round robin.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, too, because, just a heads up, guys, a round robin with 8 players is a lot of games. That is a shit ton of games. So, we're not actually covering every single game. I don't know whether there's plans for community streams or what, because I've asked about this. I haven't really gotten an answer.
There are no plans anymore at all.
Oh, moving on from depressing topics. Really don't know what's happening with that. So, that's what kind of sucks, is that I think that there are going to be a bunch of games that we're like, I don't know. But, hopefully, and this is something I want to do, between the round robin and the finals, ZombieGrub and I we'll be able to ask Blizzard for all of the replays, including the ones that weren't broadcast, so that we can go over them, and then at the finals we can talk about all of them. Because only 2 players get knocked out of the round robin, which I think is really cool.
1 player each region? No, 2 players.
No, it's 2 players, because it goes from round 8 to round 6.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, who would get knocked out? I'm going to guess whoever from...
It is a 1-day round robin per region, Borsty. There's 1 day for Europe and 1 day for Americas.
That's weird. Almost looks like a bot. I feel like whatever Protoss makes out of here is the one that's going to get knocked out in the round robin.
Group D?
Yeah. And then... unfortunately, I think Mana is going to get knocked out of the round robin.
You think so?
Yeah. Because he'll be competing against Raynor, Lambo, Euthermal, let's say.
Euthermal or Hero Marine, yeah. Something like that.
Showtime, a Laser, and Cyril.
Damn, that is... I guess it is one of those things where you get to the round 8 and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot. This is fucking stacked as shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm just like, that sucks, but that's the way it's going to go. For America, it's...
Special Scarlets, Masa,
actually, they are
mark.
They're not going to have a lot of Zergs at all. We're assuming that 1 Zerg is going to make it through. That's what we inadvertently said.
Yeah. I mean, Group B and Group C not having Zergs is a big deal.
Yeah, there's only 4 of Zergs to begin with.
Yeah. I think Group D is wide open enough that I still, like I said, I don't think that Sulky's going to advance, but I think that he could, just because of the volatility of half of the group. So, I could maybe see another Zerg there, but, it's not what I would say is the most likely thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be kind of funny.
It'd be a lot of, so it's...
America's has changed a lot.
I actually said I'm actually thinking there's going to be 5 Terrans with my predictions. 1 Zerg and 2 Protoss. Yeah, it sounds about right to me. That sounds perfectly balanced.
Yeah. God, I am really looking forward to the finals, though. I love the format I am so in love with the format for the finals.
It's nice to have a different format. But it sucks to lose out on broadcasted games.
Not the round robin. I do agree.
The finals.
The finals.
Sorry.
The offline finals, the top 6. If you scroll down, I feel bad because I keep describing this on the broadcast and stuff as a king of the hill, which it basically is.
It's the most accurate if you're gonna give it a name.
I know. The unfair part of it is that when I just say King of the Hill, that obviously doesn't sound very fair, but like it's all based on the seeding from the round robin.
Right.
And what's so cool about this is that this is actually such a good format for highlighting talent or like up and coming players or that kind of stuff. It's obviously very deep into the tournament, so it's like not as great for that. It's more like for good for highlighting like players that are like the tier 2, maybe be able to ascend to tier 1 players or something. But this is so cool because like you don't just have a player that is the bottom seed. Like normally if you take these top, obviously 6 players don't make a bracket, right? But if you take this kind of thing, you'd be like Cyril goes versus the lowest seed, and the lowest seed is just fucked, right?
Yeah.
They are just absolutely royally fucked. But in this format, they actually gradually get the ramp up of like skill and get a chance to actually. So like,
Yeah.
you can still, you get like a moral victory. You get like little wins that let you still feel like even if you didn't win the entire tournament, you still get like a victory. That I love about this format.
Yeah, it's like it condenses the magic of the MLG losers bracket into something that's actually watchable. So you don't just suddenly get Leenock in the last 5 hours of a tournament because you're like, oh shit, we forgot to pay attention to this guy.
Yeah,
it is the tournament.
Exactly. And the other cool thing is that all these players, because the previous thing was a round robin, all of these players get to play against each other, and then you already have some games directly that you can be like, this is what went wrong. What went wrong in the last thing that I played, or last series that I played against these people? I can directly take this information and adjust my play over the course of the next week, and they're going to be doing the same thing.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
It's also what every player agrees is the fairest way is round robins. So players should be happy with it. Yeah, it's nice that it's different. It's nice that also like. I think there is still going to be a problem in that not every round robin is broadcast with only 8 players. That is the ideal. Is every round robin is broadcast. If it was like a 32 round robin, then like fucking like that's obvious. Not everyone's going to be cast. But for it being a semifinals, like quarterfinals, semifinals day, like you can't even put in those words anymore. But the second to last day of an event, you would expect every game to be broadcast and.
Yeah. That's very fair. That part sucks.
And that part does suck.
Also, to answer Giant Gnome's question about the offline viewership options for the finals, no, I don't have an answer or an update. And to be depressing for a second, the person that I was waiting for an answer back from got let go from Blizzard. So
it is unlikely, is what I would say with some confidence.
If no one has said anything for a while, then it becomes less and less likely. But then again, this is also like 2.5 months away, so maybe, I mean, there is still time for them to figure stuff out.
It's possible. It just feels...
2 months? 2 months. Yeah.
Yes, 2 months. Yeah, but I wouldn't bank on it, unfortunately. I wouldn't travel down to Burbank and bank on it. Yeah. So that covers it.
Brexit is earlier than that.
That has been winter in a nutshell.
Let's talk about summer now.
God. No, I'm going to end the stream now.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed our little mini analysis, mini talk show. I don't know if the Pylon is going to talk about this, but maybe they will.
That's in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We can watch that.
Exactly. So you can always find it there. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you guys did enjoy it and you'd like to see more of it, it's like a really cool opportunity for me to be able to do it with like, Fear Dragon right here. But it is something that if people really liked it, then it's like something we could get people on call for and talk about it. But yeah, let me know. And I'll see you guys tomorrow on twitch.tv/StarCraft for the beginning of those round of 16 groups with no plans to stream because I found out that I am actually just super fucking tired